It's good to know you're still there with us on the program this morning on ITV. Beautiful Monday morning. Of course, it's countdown to the end. Okay, maybe I should call it count up to the end of the year 2021. And that comes to a close on the 31st of December 2021. That's a Friday. 5 days away from today, we'll be closing the doors on 2021 and opening a new door to 2022. But how has the year been for us as a people, as a nation, as a country? What has been the level of impact made by those saddled with the responsibilities of governing this country, from the executive through the judiciary to the legislature, or if you turn it the other way around, from the legislator through the executive to the judiciary? How has it been from the federal through the states to the local government, maybe to the world level? How has it been? The insecurity situation in the country. How has it been? What more? The economic situation in the country. How has it been? The fight against corruption in the country. How has it been? And then there is an overhang of the COVID-19 wahala that just won't abate. As we speak now, a new variant is ravaging different parts of the world called the Omicron variant. But one question that has been raging, that has refused to abate, is the question of the multiplicity of the variants. I mean, some time ago we heard about the Delta variant. That seems to have gone into oblivion. We don't know where the Gamma variant is anymore. We don't know where the Beta variant is anymore. All the other variants that came out, we don't know where they are anymore. But just a new one, Omicron, that came out from South Africa, seems to be taking its toll on nations of the world. Well, time will tell, as they always say. I'd like to thank our panelists for today on the show. Reverend Phil Aroje is the youth chairman of CAN and PFN Edo State. Reverend Phil, thank you for coming on the program.
Good morning. Compliment of the season to Nigerians, and thanks for having me today.
Let me also thank very specially the youngest amongst our panelists for today. Even though he's got gray heads, interesting, Comrade Ima Ogbidi is the president of Network of Civil Society Organization at the State. Comrade, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to our viewers.
I also have with us a labor devotee, a regular on this show, Comrade Muni Mike Modesty Itwan. That's Comrade MQI on the show today. Comrade, thank you for coming on the program.
Sonny Duke, good morning. Nigerians and viewers, good morning. Compliments of the season to you all.
Compliments of the season. Okay, let's. I know some few days back we had a go on this discussion, setting the tone for our conversations today. But try to broaden the scope now. Look at a different segment of the society: the legislature, the executive, the judiciary, the economy, insecurity, corruption. These are key templates one could actually look at and assess where we are coming from, where we are today, and where we are going. Which of them interests you most or attracts your attention the most as it affects Nigeria? Because in a sense, they are all interrelated, they are all interconnected.
Thank you very much. But I think I'd like to start from the positive side. Yes, positive side, because as the year is coming to an end,
yes,
you look back to about this time last year, the events that happened before this time last year and the event that also happened about this time last year. Now you thank God for where we are. So I'll start from the church. Major events happened this year in the church. Major conventions that we couldn't do in 2020 as a result of the COVID across the country, we're able to do them. The Winners Chapel just finished their Shiloh Redeem. The most interesting one was the healing program by Christ Embassy, which has, I think, maybe have the highest, largest number of viewers all over the world. We couldn't do that in 2019. The IPPC also took place in Lagos, and it was a wow. And all over the country, churches were able to hold their major conventions, major conventions that we couldn't do in 2020. So that's a plus for the body of Christ.
Okay.
So on a positive note, I'd like to start from there, that we did well as a church. Though sometime in August this year, before the Omicron variant, there were issues of churches not being able to hold service in Edo State, and people who were not vaccinated. That started from Edo, and then Kaduna State picked it up. Now it got to a point where the FCT, they had to lock out federal civil servants from accessing the federal secretariat at a point this year because of if you didn't have vaccination and all the rest. All of those events took place. But coming directly to politics, if we start from the executive branch, which is the main branch of governance in this country, I don't think that at the federal level there's anything we achieve more than what we ought to have achieved, more than what we achieved the previous years, because I haven't seen any major improvement, not on infrastructure, not on roads, not on power, not on security, not on fight against corruption, not on any other segment or aspect of the politics. I didn't see any major achievement. The part of the achievements that I could say, okay, I can give the federal government kudos, was the conduct of the Anambra State governorship election, which went smoothly despite all the threat by IPOB or Maso, Bondi, whatever. But that election came peacefully, and then the winner emerged, and the president was quick to congratulate the former governor of CBN, Professor Charles Soludo, who won that election. So I commend the federal government for that. But outside that, I didn't see any major achievement, because if you come to the issue of security, let me zero in on that. Even yesterday, as I saw in your news this morning, a traditional ruler was adopted in Plateau State. Yesterday, news broke out in the afternoon that first, in fact, it came up first as kidnappers went to a church in Imo State to kidnap Uchenwosu, Okorocha's son-in-law, former governorship candidate of ZAA or so. And then I put a call across straight to the CAN chairman, Dr. Divine Eches. I said, what is happening in your state? Has it gotten to the point where kidnappers will come to church and carry people? I watched the video. It was about 9 minutes, a video somebody posted on Facebook, and I didn't see any reaction from the security men who were around. So now said, Pastor, it was not kidnappers, it was an arrest made by security agencies. And I felt bad for my nation, that it will get to a point where armed men will go to a church service, during church service, in an Anglican church, and adopt someone. It has never happened. I don't know what the federal government and what the Imo State government intend to achieve that way. The little I know, maybe the labor devotee will know better, that armed men are not supposed to, you are not supposed to take arm into a worship
place.
Yes. You wait for the man to finish. He left his house and came to church. Let him finish the church service. He will certainly exit from the gate. You don't arrest a man during a court sitting. You wait for him. They grant him bail. You still have something to do with him.
You pick him up at the exit.
You pick him from there. That's what you ought to do. So, on that issue of security, I can't government any pass mark. But let me zero in on one and clear something that I mentioned last week when we were here. On Saturday, that was the 18th of December, at about 7:30 p.m., I left Benin City, headed to a village called Iguawe on Benin Auchi Road before Okwo. I went to see some churches there, some pastors that evening. There were some things they needed to distribute on Sunday morning, so I needed to give it to them. On my way, I passed Oroposa. Then I got to a passport. Those who are familiar with that road will know the passport. I won't mention the security agency, but there was a team of a security agency. It was not a combined team. It was just one. There were like 4 of them. They have their van parked there. And I was on siren. And they stopped me. I said, why are you on siren? I said, because you see that I don't have arms, so I'm just with my staff, and then we are going somewhere. That's my own way of clearing the road for myself. It is already night. They said, no, don't use siren. You just attract attention to yourself. Don't off the revolving light and all the rest. And I thought they were giving me a genuine advice. So I obeyed them. I went to the 2 villages I was going to. 30 minutes after I was coming back, just before that same spot, people stopped me and said, there are kidnappers. I said, no. 30 minutes ago,
I passed through here.
I passed through here and there were security men there. They said, there are kidnappers there. A man actually now came with bruises and injuries all over his body and said, I just escaped. I said, but I just passed through there. Well, I mustered a few courage and then I took off. I ran across the place and then I discovered that these security men had left that spot where they were, where kidnapping has taken place, and had moved away like 5 posts away. They were now in another spot. One of the persons who was kidnapped came to her church on Tuesday when she was released to say that those who kidnapped them actually said that we shouldn't bother about those security men, that they know what they are doing. So that's why I don't want to mention the agency. Names. That was on the 18th. Today is 27th.
But what were you doing at 7:30 p.m.? That's pretty late, yeah?
No, it's not late. It's not late.
I'm concerned that, there is a general advice that you don't
Why should we, if a government came, sir, and said, I have only 3 things to do for the nation: to tackle insecurity, to fight corruption, and build the economy, why can't I travel within the next local government? My house is at Kuboka, my church is at Uhunwode, and I was within Uhunwode local government. Why can't I move by 8 p.m. on Bini Ekoma Road? Why should somebody lock me there if we have a country?
Okay, all right. Yeah,
okay,
let me pass you there. I'll bring you in. Let's quickly look at the quality of life of Nigerians. I mean, in the last 1 year, I've heard people say, well, things are pretty expensive. Our wives go to the market and they come back with interesting story. I bought this last week or yesterday, today. This is a new price. But this is synonymous with the end of year festivities. But there are those who want to extrapolate that backward and say, look, from the beginning of the year, this has been the state of Nigeria and Nigerians. Do you subscribe to this?
Yes, the fact is very clear, and if you look at recent reports from one of the members of the economic advisor of Mr. President, Mr. Rwan, Nigeria still remains the poverty capital of the world, according to his report. I would say, looking at the past 1 year, in terms of the standard and quality of lives of Nigerians, as expected, we have not been able to pull Nigerians out of poverty and improve the standard of living. Because while we speak all these plenty grammars, while we talk about all of these economic indices, what is important to the common man in the street is how does it affect my stomach? How does it affect the standard of life I'm living? Bag of rice, for example, as we speak, is sells for within 33 to 35,000 naira right now. How many Nigerians can actually afford a bag of rice to feed a family of 4?
Must you buy a bag of rice if you can't afford a bag of rice? Buy cups of rice.
A bag of rice is what the price of a bag of rice is what determines the cups.
The price of the
cups that are inside. Because it is cups that makes rubber and rubber makes bag. So if you want to look at it from that perspective, recently I filled my gas. 12.5 kg was filled for 8,500 naira. This was something we filled for about 3,008, 4,005 early this year. Now, if you look at all of these things, I'll tell you that our system, the leadership of this country has not been able to live up to the expectation of Nigerians in terms of engaging the necessary economic policies and indices to stabilize pricing that will affect the common man. Beyond that, you also understand that salaries of our people are not increasing. Why pricing in the market is increasing by the day? It is not also encouraging. Then beyond that, my brother, my reverend here talked about insecurity. We've never had it so bad in this country to the extent that while Mr. President is landing in the airport, terrorists are shooting rockets into the airport where Mr. President is landing. Insecurity in the country has become something that is getting worse by the day, to the extent that people are now kidnapped from churches, they are from their houses, they are not safe. So if you put all of these things in place, look at what is happening in the southeast. Look at what happened in the western part of this country. Division all over the place. Why? Because Nigerians are not beginning to, the different regions in the country are beginning to see that there is no reason or there's no good basis for our coexisting. So insecurity is rising and disunity is rising because from the center we have not been able to prove to the fact that Nigeria and Nigerians are one. So that is also on the side of the leadership of this country. So we expect that the leadership of this country should be able to bring everybody together and also be able to bring the issues of insecurity to an end. Mr. President promised us while he was sworn in the first tenure that within 6 months that he was going to end the issue of insurgency. But to date, the issue of insurgency is beginning to assume a different dimension, from Boko Haram to herdsmen, from herdsmen we are now hearing bandits and all of that. What is it that we cannot nip from the bud? Of course, you will agree with me that if these things has no political dimension, they would have fizzled out by now. So we are calling on the government. The year is coming to an end. 2022 is just knocking. There is need for improvement as to how the economic indices and economic policies of Nigeria was engaged in 2021, how security issues were engaged in 2021. At a time, we have to be begging Mr. President to rejig the security chiefs in this state. While they were crying, hue and cry everywhere, there were no performance in terms of how security issues are engaged. So, going forward in 2022, we expect Mr. President to look into all these aspects and be able to give us improvement. What about the legislature? Look at what is happening right now, even when it comes to the issues of electoral amendment. That would have been one aspect that we think, okay, Nigeria is able to achieve something meaningful by signing into law the electoral amendment. But suddenly we are beginning to hear and see that Mr. President is declining assent to the bill for the reason being that direct primary. Now I ask a question. Why the electoral amendment bill was passing through the various readings and public hearing? We never had the issue of direct or indirect primaries. Now the issue that we are seeing now is what I can describe as being majoring on the minor and minoring on the major. The major thing that will benefit Nigeria and take our democracy to the next level is signing the Electoral Act into law, which will improve the conduct of our election as it concerns the transmission, the electronic transmission of results. Okay. And when that is done, the quality of our elections and how leaders are elected and transparency in our electoral process will improve. Why not leave the issue that has to do with party primaries for the various parties to handle? So at what point did the issue of direct and indirect primary was smuggled into the electoral amendment bill? And I'll tell you that is just a way to distract Nigerians. You don't want to sign in the electoral amendment bill. You are putting indirect and primary that has the prerogative and to decide. Okay. And now you are the good job, the good work that have been done. So looking at that, I'll tell you that both the executive and the legislature, except they veto the president on this matter, I'll tell you that the legislature has also failed woefully. Every one member of the House of Assembly who are there and cannot push for the vetoing of this bill into law without the president. They have all failed Nigerians, and the executive, by not signing, has failed already. So looking into 2022, we want to see how better they can manage the Nigerian system. But for now, it is zero.
Okay. Personal opinions canvassed by Comrade Emmanuel Ogbidi, of course, the president of Network of Civil Society Organization at the state. Comrade Moni Mike Modesti. Let's look at workers' plight. Labor versus government at various times in the year that happened. I mean, there's still one that is yet to come out to the full glare of the public. And the interesting thing is that when that happens, others will follow. Let's take it off from there.
Well, thank you for having me in here. I think I've listened so much to my brothers who have spoken. Whatever we are looking at right now, we all dovetail to the fact that we have two major organs, so to speak. Let me use that word, organs of governance, that have direct and indirect bearing on whatever we need to have in our system as a nation. Even as individuals, they have direct bearings. First and foremost, at the peak of it is politics. Politics drives every other thing, apart from nature. Apart from nature, politics drives every other thing, whether economically or otherwise. Politics as encapsulated in the legislature and the executive, either at the federal, at the state, or at the local government branch. Economically, I must mention to you that some years back we took a kind of a major leap, and as of today, I will tell you we have taken 1 million steps backwards. I mentioned politics as being at the peak of every other thing. Those who determine political leadership or who are in political leadership positions are those who are expected to make laws, who are expected to execute such laws, who are also expected to make sure the laws are executed the way they have been so made. So depending on the political lineage you are, or what you feel about what is existing, and you want to bring in your personal penchant for certain things without having to obey what ought to be, then many things will go bad. Politics are the peak of it all. Let's look at it from the security perspective. Boko Haram has been decimated. We are on top of the situation. Trillions have been voted. Yet, the average farmer, even in Benin here, can no longer go to farm. Food insecurity. In the north, people no longer even go to farm either. Villages are now being captured and taxed by insurgents. Who will come and invest in an economy that has been so bastardized with insecurity? Even the citizens of this country, how are they sure if they invest the little they have? Okay, they are sure of getting it back. Most people had started investing in agriculture. Are they still doing that today? You are talking about rising prices and inflation here and there. When you have more money pursuing few goods, what do you have in your hands? Inflation. The production is so scarce, is so little, and the entire populace of over 200 million must have something to feed. So if you are expected to consume 50 tons in a month of rice in Nigeria, and we're not able to provide even up to 10 tons, why will a bag of rice not get up to 100,000 very soon? Even when you are able to produce, and the fuel wahala is there, you cannot even have the resources to transport it. Why will a bag of cement not go to 10,000 naira very soon? The poor is getting poorer, and the rich is not even getting richer either.
This is why people are in position of authority.
Yes, that's why I said political leadership is at the peak of everything.
Okay. So you're blaming political leadership?
Political leadership determines every other thing. Even the way and manner we will behave as individuals in our own domain are to an extent is also determined by political leadership. An astute political leader who means well for the people knows how to get to the people because he is with the people. If it's from the people and he knows what the people want, and he's not knowing that what the people want, he's doing it at variance, then it's causing more catastrophe. You mentioned labor. Labor is part and parcel of society. When the issue of minimum wage agitation came, I said it here, that for me, asking for minimum wage then was not even necessary. If the economy was to be right, if we've had more food produced, a commercial quantity goes around to everybody, the average worker will not ask for increase in minimum wage. If the education sector is functioning properly, and the children go to school, and they have even free feeding, which this country can provide, then nobody will be talking about increase in minimum wage. If you have 1,000 naira, you are able to buy gari, you are able to feed your family with 1,000 naira, as we used to have it those days, nobody will be asking for minimum wage. And I mentioned it then, that even what we were asking for as labor activists will come to naught few days after the approval. Has that not come to be proven right? Are we not going to be asking for another new minimum wage? No. A minimum wage cannot buy a bag of rice in Nigeria. Government came and asked that no more importation of rice. Everybody go back to farm. And workers were interested to go back to farm. But just look at the environment and see what is happening. Some persons have plantation. I can tell you they cannot even go there. Before they get there, the plantations are already harvested. I was told not too long ago by somebody who is close to me that a pickup van was taken to his cassava farm, and overnight the entire cassava was operated. Only to get to his farm, he couldn't find the rest of the cassava standing. Those who have pineapple farms, they are complaining. People are coming to harvest their pineapples for sale. Because the hunger is massive. It's massive. You're talking about insurgency. Are we still talking about insurgency? Or Nigeria has been overtaken now? Mali, Libya, just mention them. It was like a child's play. The economy in the north is grounded. The economy in the south is grounded. The economy generally is grounded. What is the position of Dangote today? The number one richest man in Africa. What's his position today? So, if you have children who are in school, pure water, a bag is 250 naira for pure water. Those who are producing pure water, are they not justified to have increased their prices? Yes, because the cost of raw materials have also increased. How much is a one-room apartment today? Nobody goes free now, even when you are traveling, even on foot. You don't even know the next person who's trekking with you. So, Afghanistan, we may be worst. God forbid. We may be worst. People are selling their own children, their own biological children. People are selling them for daily bread. As low as 50,000 naira. 50,000 naira. A couple sold a child. And we are pretending that all is well. It's not well at all. Like I said, many years back, we had a leapfrogging in our economy and everything. Yeah. But for the past few years, we have taken over 1 million steps backwards. And the political class is still busy planning, scheming for 2023. There was a nation, according to Chinua Achebe. And these people are not seeing what is happening. If somebody had told Mr. President that terrorists will have the effrontery to launch rockets, even when they may not even target him, but to make a bold statement that we are in Nigeria and we are ready to go extra miles. And they succeeded in making the bold statement. All the trillions that have been voted into our military.
Where's it going to?
Where's the money going to?
Okay. Our
military men, are they adequately motivated? The Tucanos and all of them that have been imported, where are they?
They're working.
Well, so to speak, we are almost beginning to be extraordinarily overwhelmed. And if we don't get the security right, the economy is in total collapse.
All right, let me pause you there, Comrade Money Mike Modesty. If you just join us, you're still on to This Morning on ITV, TMI Monday, with you sincerely. Just x-raying some of the major activities of the year 2021 and making projections for 2022 so we can get it right as a nation, as a people, and change the narratives. Let me come back to you. The things we are saying, aren't they reflective of the global trend, as it were?
Thank you very much. Certainly, they are not. They are not. There are no insecurity in America that have overwhelmed Americans as it has overwhelmed us.
But you have in Afghanistan. In fact,
that's Afghanistan. We should
Reverend Father Kuka just described the North as Arewaristan.
Yes. Yeah. So Nigeria is a shame to me and to many Nigerians that when you want to compare Nigeria in the Committee of States and Nations, you are comparing us with Syria, Afghanistan, Lebanon, and all the rest. No. Nigeria should be compared with European countries, with the United Kingdom, with America, and all other good countries, Canada, not with Afghanistan and all the rest. It's a shame and pains that the current government of the last, thank God they have 17 months to go, of the last 6.5 years, has brought us to this point where life has become so short and so brutish. It's unfortunate, it's sad. Things are not as bad as it is now in Nigeria for Ghanaians. No. I'm sure you watched the trending video a few days ago, how some Nigerians who tried to come into the country, who landed at Benin Republic, yes, were molested and maltreated. Benin Republic is not as big as Benin City. We're molested and maltreated. Togolese will molest Nigerians. Togolese is one tiny country, not bigger than the local government area. Ghanaians will come and harass Nigerians because we have a very bad leadership. And all of these things ends at the ends at the president's table. The reality of things today is that Mr. President has not done well. And nobody should be scared to say the truth. Because whether you say the truth, nobody lives this world alive. One day we'll all return back to our Creator. He hasn't done well. What he promised Nigerians, he has not been able to deliver one. Do we have FEMA in Edo State? We used to have FEMA that will go and be maintaining roads. Do we have? It took beliefs, it took Edo people weeks of protests for the state government the governor to say no. Even if this is a federal road, it's within the state capital. And then the governor went to Sapele Road to go and be walking there. I asked the vice president on the 19th of January, 2019. They came for campaign before the 2019 election. And I said, sir, you want us to vote for you again? I was privileged to be in that meeting of 20 persons when he visited me. It was a private meeting with religious leaders. And I asked, it took you 4 years to dualize 13 kilometers from Rama Park to Egba Junction on the Benin Outer Road. 4 years, 13 kilometers. He had no answer. He had no answer. And after then, from 2019 till now, what have they done? They have only struggled to get to Obada Junction. Do we have government in place like that? There is a housing estate they are building before Egba Junction, one village they call Uwege, on Benin Outer Road, for 6.5 years. The houses there are not more than 20 units. Do we have a government like that in this country? That people, okay, even come, if you look at the marginalization, I don't know how true it is, because I've tried to, as much as possible, avoid traveling on roads, except I just have to go. Somebody had counted and calculated that from Lagos-Ibadan Road to Onitsha, you have 60 security checkpoints.
It's no lie.
60. In fact, between Benin and Okada, they can't more than 7.
But if you ask the driver, they will tell you that's what makes it easy
I
for them
don't
to travel,
have
not because of
any
the security situation.
I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with that. I'm not complaining. But why are we not having the same number of security men, customs especially, in the northern part of the country? You can travel from Sokoto until you get to Okpila, you will not find one custom checkpoint. But the moment you cross Okpila, you get to Urumi, you get to Agbo, you get to Asaba. At every point, you find them there. Why demarginalization? What kind of affliction are you giving to people? that there is no area, there is no aspect, and the governors of the states have not helped matters. They haven't helped matters. As a matter of fact, there are insinuations that it's even the governors that are putting a spanner in the wheel of the progress of the president signing this electoral bill to make it an act. Whether they don't want direct primaries, whether they want direct primaries, they are part of the problem. Because if you also look at how most of the governors have administered local government administration and election in the state, you will find that they are not also exempted from this crisis that has bedeviled us as a nation. It's sad. How can we be buying petrol at 170 naira a liter? And then in preparation for the new year, you are threatening us we are going to take petrol to 320 naira, 250 naira. As at today, AGO, that's diesel, is 340 naira a liter. Kerosene is 400 naira. 1 kg of cooking gas, LPG, is 700 naira a kg.
That's why I asked the question.
It's not like that in other parts of the world.
These things reflective of the global trend.
No. It's not.
The price of crude oil in the world market, what is it like? How is it like?
The price of crude oil is from the budget that was just passed a few days ago, waiting for President Hassan. I think and
that budget is still not yet functional.
Yes,
but it's a projection
was
for 2022.
$62. $62 per barrel. At the time, the former government had petrol sold at 89 naira. 89 naira per liter of petrol. How much was crude oil? It was over $100. It was over $100.
So you had more money then compared to now from oil,
look,
which is a major state of the Nigerian economy.
The people we have now told us that there was nothing like subsidy at that time. They told us there was no subsidy. They told us we were going to build 1 refinery every year. How many refineries have they built? They told us in 6 months they are going to take away darkness.
Those refineries
I have not seen light in my house in the last 4 days.
They're under construction. The refineries are under construction.
Where are they
refineries?
Where are they located?
I heard just one of those states
Where is that
under
one?
construction.
Let
me come back to Ima Ogbidi. Yeah, I'd like you to take it off from there. In terms of
now, in 2015, after the election, during the swearing in of Mr. President, in his famous speech, one of the phrase on that speech said, "I belong to nobody and I belong to everybody." Why so many people took that statement and were jubilating, some of us said that only time we prove if Mr. President actually belonged to nobody or belonged to somebody. But I will tell you for free that over time we have been able to discover that that statement has not met any expectation. Look at what my Reverend just said as regards how custom and security checkpoints are mounted in Lagos through Benin to Onitsha, which is the economic route
of the south.
Somebody told me that if you go to the northern, the boundaries, the borders, the northern borders, where rice come into this country, you don't see customs there. You don't see all of these security agencies there. And you'll be able to get all these things coming into the country through the north, but you can't find them illegally. You can't find them in the south. Now, does Mr. President belong to a particular region? Does he belong to some particular people? Now, let's look at the security architecture at the time. Let's look at the federal character principle. How is the security architecture of Nigeria supposed to be constituted? At the time, you have all the security chiefs from the northern part of this country. And yet, that is where we have all the insurgency and what you have, what have you there. Now, does Mr. President belong to somebody? Does he belong to a certain region? You will ask yourself. Then let's look at how the issue of the IPOB was handled and how the issues of the bandits. You see, at the time, the bandits were described as area boys in the north. They said, no, you see, you don't treat them like that. You have to, you have to give them some level of leverage. You have to negotiate with them. You have to discuss with them. It took almost a year for Nigerians calling that the bandits should be declared as terrorists before Mr. President or the federal government reluctantly, through the court, declared bandits as what? As terrorists.
Has that changed anything?
But before then, sir, Nigerians has been made. Lots of Nigerians has been kidnapped and money nicked from them. What happened to the families of Nigerians that have lost their lives? What also happened to our gallant men who, for the recklessness of leadership, failure of political leadership, as my brother said, our gallant men that have lost their life, their deaths were avoidable if the needful was done at the appropriate time. So, Mr. President, do you belong to somebody or do you belong to a certain region? The unity of this country is determined by how much the president is able to put everybody together. At a time you heard that the southeast they want to go and the southwest, certain people say they want to go. Why? Because the actions and inactions of Mr. President begin to reflect the fact that he belongs to a certain region of the country. You must have agitation. At a time in the last administration, Mr. President Goodluck, certain people were accusing Mr. President, the former president, that the South has been neglected, that he's building schools, Amajiri schools, and building roads in the North. Can't we have such statements and such kind of remarks in this administration? The answer is no. There was nothing like that. Now, if you want to make a better system, you want to make the country better, you have to balance the system. You have to ensure that everybody are well represented, because Nigeria is a multi-ethnic nation. Everybody has to be represented. Now, let's look at our academic system, the way it is today. The better part of 2021, you will agree with me that ASU strike took a lot of time from our students. Why the issues that were at the front burner were issues of agreement, where the political leadership has agreed with the union, with the staff, with the academic union, that this is what we will do and this is what we will do to ensure that our academic system is put in place. And they failed not once, not twice. When the people does not have reason and basis to trust the government of the day, you can't have the meaningful development and engagement. Okay. Even those who have solutions, who have the money to invest in the system, the way it is now and the way it is structured, nobody want to put their money into the system. Why? Because they can't even trust the government of the day.
All right, so Mike, let's get your perspectives. I mean, going forward, we're here now, and we all want a better country, a better Nigeria that we'll all be proud of. As we speak at the moment, things are not the way they ought to be. But could it be that, in a sense, we tend to give more attention to some of these negative things at the detriment of the positive things in this country? And that seems to be the reason why there is this disposition of the average Nigerian towards what is being done as far as the country is concerned. On the final note.
Well, if we ask you, in your own opinion, as a Nigerian, what have we achieved in 2021? Just to mention one. Not as an anchor man. To us.
No, I'm listening. I'm the moderator.
Okay,
I have a responsibility here to ask you questions.
Let me take my question back.
So take it back.
Let me take it back. I honestly take my question. Things have fallen apart. The center is no longer holding. More anarchy has been losing.
You are sounding like a prophet of doom.
No,
the prophet of reality. That's the reality.
I'm a prophet of reality. A die-hard optimist who believes in reality. We have all sinned. We have all sinned. All of us. And we have fallen short of God's glory.
That's why Christ came. Right?
Politically speaking, we have all in one way and the other contributed to the murdering of our dear country. In one way or the other. Those who said petrol will sell for 45 naira when we come to power.
Well,
I think petrol is selling for 45 naira now. Those who said electricity will be restored within 6 months. I am sure in your office, right here in your studio, is running on public electricity. Those who said the medical system, the medical infrastructure will turn around, I am sure they are no longer traveling to UK. They are doing this in Nigeria. Those who said food will be there 3 times on the table, I am sure their family and their village brothers and sisters are eating 3 square meals a day. Those who said our children will no longer suffer, they will have free meals in our schools. I am sure all the children in Nigeria schools are having free square meals in our schools. Are you aware that on the education index, Nigeria is plummeting on a daily basis? Out of school children is about the highest in this country. Let's do the rating, sectorally or otherwise. But I must say, to what extent with continuous lamentation take us? We are a praying nation. Heaven will help those who help themselves. Now we are beginning to see where we all, in one way or the other, have contributed to the downfall of our country. When the opportunity comes again, let's believe that God will talk to our spirits.
Okay.
Let's believe that God will intervene and show us and raise men and women of goodwill who can help us fix Nigeria.
So 2023 provides that opportunity?
Let me tell you, 2022, before 2023, let me talk 2023. 2022, economically speaking,
yes,
we should be prepared for the worst if care is not taken. Because a time will come, salaries will not be paid any longer. They are saying for them to continue to pay salaries, they are going to remove subsidy. And Labour is saying, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Even the High Power Committee put up since last year on this issue, they have since disbanded it quietly. Federal government, nothing is happening.
So you think they're going to take a unilateral decision?
That's what they already, IMF and others are already telling them to do what they seem to be the needful. Without thinking of what happens to other Nigerians. All those legislators, those in the executive, they are all feeding free. They are not buying fuel. It's government money that is providing everything for them.
Okay.
But in as much as we accept the fact that the economy has to have some kind of rejigging,
Yeah.
all stakeholders must participate in the rejigging of the economy.
Yeah.
Fortunately, let me also say, God bless Dangote. And should Dangote refinery works early next year, all things being equal, I see a ray of hope.
So that's the positive.
Hold on, that's the
positive I was talking about. You know, you asked the question a while ago.
Yes. I'm talking about 2022. 2023, I see a lot of dramatic turnaround. Politically speaking, dramatic turnaround. Politically speaking, because the lessons of these past few years is so much on Nigerians' psychology and mental health situation.
Okay, 2023 turnaround, you see that too?
Well, you see, there is need for us as a people, as civil society, to engage Nigerians, to mobilize Nigerians, so that they will not forget where we are coming from.
Okay.
Because 2023 is another opportunity for Nigerians to change the narrative and determine good governance, participatory governance, and inclusive governance that will better the lives of the common man in the street.
All right, Reverend, final word on that, 2023.
Quite honestly, I do not believe again that there will be any government that will be as worse as the present government. No matter who comes in, I don't think anybody will be as bad as this. From what I sense in the realm of the spirit, 8 weeks, 17 months from now, 8 weeks, 17 months from now, when Buhari, God will keep him alive. He will finish his tenure. He won't die, nothing will happen to him. Let people throw rocket, God will keep him there. Let him finish his tenure. 8 weeks after he leaves office, there will be signs of improvement. Maximum 8 months, Nigerians will come back to the street to rejoice.
All
That's
right.
what I see in the
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I mean, thank God it's not all gloom, gloom, gloom. I mean, there's some, we expect to see light at the end of the tunnel ultimately. But Nigeria remains our own, and it's our collective responsibility to change the narrative. It's easy to blame leadership, but followership also has a very huge role to play if we must change the narratives. I mean, just imagine northern Nigeria now being described as Arewanistan, and that's coming from Reverend Father Matthew Hassan Kuka, who encapsulated that word to reflect, what's happening in the north. So, whether from the north to the south, east or west, the story is the same. Insecurity everywhere, the economy in doldrums. We can just go on and on and on. But I really would have loved to continue with this conversation, but that's the much we have for today. Let me thank Comrade Moni Mike Modesti Itoa for coming.
Thank you for having me here.
Comrade Mark Ogbidi, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Reverend Philo, always a delight to have you here.
I appreciate you.
Okay, we'll take a short break, and then we'll have a lot of back-to-back interviews coming up. Please stay with us.